90.1 The Voice. I'm your boy Javon Hubbard here with Brad Brooks.
What up?
Wanye Davis.
Poppin'.
And this here is 3rd and 30. Man, we have missed the last 2 weeks, so we have a lot to talk about. First and foremost, obviously, you know what I'm saying, shout out to those Eagles, man, for making it to that Super Bowl 52. And in New England, who we all thought was going to make it, they're there as well. So let's talk about the last 2 weeks, man, okay? Obviously, the divisional round got a little crazy, man. It got a little crazy. It was some things that we knew was going to happen. Let's start off with this Tennessee and New England game, man.
That game, I mean, it's not really much to speak on it. Tom Brady and the Patriots showed their dominance once again against a young, inexperienced, and lackadaisical Tennessee team. Tennessee has some good young pieces. Corey Davis had a big catch in the end zone for a touchdown. Marcus Mariota played pretty well, but they still got a long way to go before they catch New England.
Yeah, bro. I mean, come on, it's Tennessee. Ain't nobody. They weren't beating New England. But I will say, AFC South is trending upward. You know, you got the Titans. You know, now Josh McDaniels of Indianapolis, Houston, if they can bounce back with all their injuries they face. And, of course, we'll get to Jacksonville real soon. But I just feel like the AFC South is trending upward.
Yeah, for sure. You're not messing with, especially in that situation, I would never bet against Belichick and Brady. Can't. Jacksonville and Pittsburgh, guys. Jacksonville edging that one out 45-42. It was a high-scoring game. You know, I didn't expect that much offense, honestly.
Not from Jacksonville, for sure.
Not from Jacksonville.
And you see where arrogance gets you, too, man. Le'Veon Bell, and, you know, he was saying before, via Twitter, he was saying, you know, oh, we're going to have 2 back-to-backs where we play, you know.
They were dancing around in videos and stuff like that.
And then the news where it came out, he came to the last, 5 minutes of walkthrough. I mean, but the same thing, he balled out, but it's like, Le'Veon, you can't do that. You're already in a contract year again. You can't do that. But Jacksonville, man, they really balled out that game. Of course, you know, I know you guys got y'all's take on that as well, but I feel like Jacksonville, when they went in Pittsburgh, they just felt like that sense of pride, like, you know, we've beat them before, let's do it again, and we saw that.
I mean, I definitely saw Jacksonville establish themselves early, you know, jumping out to that 21-0 lead, playing defense, turnovers, running the football with Leonard Fournette, and Blake Bortles was very impressive in that game. Made throws when he needed to make them, didn't lose the game for him. Of course, the Steelers came back with that high-powered offense, but the defense was able to make stops when they needed it.
Yeah, and one thing that Jacksonville, they just depended on so much was that run, man.
Yeah.
I think their highest receiver had 57 yards. I mean, they depended on Leonard Fournette, you know, plus 100 yards, 3 TDs. I mean, and T.J. Yeldon as well. I mean, you've got to go with the workhorses. I think they did that well. And it just goes to show that Pittsburgh does have a problem stopping that run. Like I mentioned before, prior to a couple weeks back, I mentioned that. I said, you've got to get the ball to Leonard Fournette, your playmaker, the big guy up front. And so and they did that, and it worked for them. Moving on to the NFC side, Atlanta versus Philadelphia. This is a game that I didn't think was going to go the way it went. I had Atlanta as my favorite to go to the Super Bowl, even over the Saints. They got embarrassed. I mean, it was 15-10, but they just didn't look the same. What was your take on that one?
My take was exactly what I told both of y'all. Cold dome teams don't do well in the cold. I told you that Matt Ryan was not going to be able to sling that rock around. They were going to have to run the ball. Matt Ryan could not sling that rock around, and they could not run the ball. Therefore, they lost. But the Eagles in that game, Nick Foles didn't really look too good. You know, he made good plays. You know, he played very well. I think, you know, better than he played in previous weeks. But that defense just showed its dominance, you know, holding a high-powered offense to 10 points and then making the stop at the end. They show why they're a top 5 defense.
Yeah, speaking on that, I do want to go back to the Steelers. How Julio Jones, it was just about the receivers. How, you know, Julio Jones, game on the line. Yes, you know, it wasn't the best play. The last 3 plays that they had ran in the goal line when they had the chance to win, that was ugly. But AB showed why he's the best receiver in the league.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Despite a loss to Jacksonville. But my biggest thing with Atlanta 2 weeks ago when they were in the divisional round, I don't know how Steve Sarkisian still has a job. They brought him back. They signed him. It gave him an extension. Why, I do not know. This year, Julio Jones had his lowest amount of touchdowns since his career. Matt Ryan definitely took a step back from being the MVP last year. And I mean, like I said, I was completely wrong. I mean, I really did think Atlanta was going to win, just how they were able to go on the road, beat Los Angeles. But
that's the thing, and I'm gonna you know, combat that statement you made about not being able to play in the cold. Matt Ryan didn't have a bad game. He didn't make any mistakes. He threw a touchdown. You know, I mean, obviously he didn't have a huge, 300-yard game. It was 210 yards, but I felt like there was a very nickel and dime kind of approach to their game.
Yeah.
Obviously, Julio had 101 yards. That's Julio, whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing that I liked about you guys is you guys knew how to contain. It was a lot of containment going on. It was a lot of making sure that, you know, they didn't run the you guys contained the deep routes that they obviously always run, the fade routes, the straights. You guys made sure those things were locked up. And that's one thing that's going to get you guys, over the edge, I think, against, later on we'll talk about it, but that's going to get you the edge over Patriots. So we'll see about that. But moving forward, so the last week, man, I mean, the week that just came, the week that just happened, man, I didn't think this was going to happen, man. Minnesota, we're going to stay on this NFC side right now since we're talking about the Eagles. Let's keep it going. Minnesota losing terribly. 38-7, man. What happened, guys? What happened there?
Listen.
Why is all smiles, man?
One day, I don't know when it's gonna come, but one day y'all are gonna acknowledge what I say and take what I say and believe it. Y'all are gonna be like, okay, Wanya's not just blowing smoke up our butts. He actually understands. He knows what he's talking about. I told you against the Falcons that dome teams can't play well in the cold. Now, granted, the game on Sunday against the Vikings, it wasn't a cold game at all. But, I, like most people at ESPN said, no one saw this coming from Nick Foles. I mean, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns. No one saw that. The defense, I expected that type of performance. I expected the Vikings to maybe get 10 or 14 points, not just 7. But the offense, I mean, just Alshon Jeffrey looking like a top 10 receiver. I mean, earning his money. Torrey Smith came up with a big catch. He had a drop early, but came up with a big catch late in that game to kind of seal the deal. They're clicking. They're clicking. I'm trying to tell you, they're clicking.
To add into that, I just want to say, Doug Peterson. I mean, I know we all put in our votes for Coach of the Year, and I said Sean McVay. And Sean McVay, he deserves a lot of credit what he was able to do this year with the Los Angeles Rams. But Doug Peterson, man, number one, a team. How I told Wanya, yes, I am so sorry, Wanya. Listen, one time I apologize to you. I was wrong. I was wrong because I was one of the critics once Wentz went down. I just didn't see this team staying afloat.
Yep.
And at the same time, man, the reason why I want to give so much love to Doug Peterson is the way he's been game planning these past 2 weeks. We talked about the Atlanta game. Defensively, Jim Schwartz and those boys, they were able to keep doing what they've been doing all year. They said they had the number 1 rush defense. They took the run away. They took the passing lanes away from Matt Ryan. This week, what did Doug Peterson do? He made the offense simplified for Nick Foles. Absolutely. We saw a lot yesterday. He was getting the ball out fast, like 1.5 seconds the ball was coming out. And at the same time, once they were able to establish, short passes, bam. Take the deep shots. We've seen the deep ball he threw to Alshon Jeffrey. So Nick Foles, man, he surprised a lot of people. And, he just is real comfortable in that offense. And for Doug Peterson to give him, that comfortableness where, a couple of months ago they were saying this dude wanted to walk away from football.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of love right there for Doug Peterson. The Eagles are looking good. It's going to be hard against Tom Brady.
Yeah. It's going to be rough.
Hey, man, yesterday what I saw, man, was just incredible because a lot of people right now are saying, is it really good Philadelphia? Who should be more impressive, Philadelphia or Minnesota? I mean, I'm more impressed with Philadelphia, the way everything unfolded. Yeah. So
I mean, in my opinion, I feel like, a blowout like this, 38-7, and I heard this early on First Take, it's a combination of bad Vikings and good Eagles. Nick, like you said, Nick Foles looked very comfortable. I think, the key... the hidden key in this is that Doug Peterson, the head coach, the OC, Frank Rick, and their quarterbacks coach were all former quarterbacks. Now, them hiring all those guys was for Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, Carson Wentz goes down, but I think that has been an intricate part in Nick Foles' success is having a quarterback-heavy staff. They were all backup quarterbacks, and Doug Peterson used to play for the Philadelphia Eagles, backing up Donovan McNabb. I think that comfort and giving that extra week and that bye week helped him better prepare and get them more comfortable with how to approach, these next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and one thing I saw Doug Peterson definitely doing that he's been doing the whole playoffs is with Nick Foles, I mean, like you said, nurturing him obviously and bringing him up to be, that quarterback. It feels almost 2013-esque for Foles.
Yeah.
But, one thing that I'm seeing a lot is that they're doing a lot of the opposite of what teams are thinking that they're going to do.
Exactly.
We're going to come out, okay, it's Nick Foles. We're not scared of Nick Foles. We're going to play up. We're going to press because they're going to nickel and dime the whole game. No, we're not. We're going to go up top. We're going to throw the ball. And that's what they did. They started out nickel and dime, just chugging along. And bam, then you hit him for Alshon Jeffrey. Then things like that will win you that Super Bowl. Things like that will get you to where you guys have gotten. And I mean, I think that is great coaching on, Doug Peterson's part. I mean,
Absolutely.
They can't be overstated.
Yeah. And the hire of Jim Schwartz, a former head coach for the Lions, having him as defensive coordinator. When you're getting those stops defensively, you're getting your offense on the field more, which creates more opportunities, therefore more points.
Not only that, I also want to throw in just the front office of Philadelphia.
Absolutely. Howie Roseman
has done a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
He lost his GM job when they had Chip Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was, he wanted all that power. He wanted, front office control and be control of the head coaching job. But what Howie Roseman has done, man, since he's been back in that position, he made the trade to get Wentz. Wentz worked out, This was a dude. He should have won MVP if he wouldn't went down. And then even if he wouldn't have went down,
he still might.
Really would have been the favorites with Wentz.
Absolutely.
So, that's one thing. And then the fact Howard Rosen making the in-season trade to get Jay Ajayi, making moves like getting Derek Barnett in the draft.
Ronald Darby.
And Derek Barnett made that big play yesterday, man.
He's the first first-round pick for the Philadelphia Eagles to actually make an impact in year one in a long time.
Yeah,
Nelson Aguilar came along kind of late. Brandon Graham kind of came along kind of late. He's the first guy to kind of make impact right away.
Instant impact.
Yeah.
That's good for them. So moving on to the AFC side, guys. Saxonville going down, man, to the Patriots. They got out to an early lead, man. I think the whole world was looking at that game like, what? What's really going on? I mean, once again, man, we doubted Belichick and we doubted Brady again. I mean, and did we not have reason? Because I think the defense was playing well. They looked like they were getting to the quarterback. I know they sacked him. It was they had 2 sacks, and that was the first time he'd been hit in 79 attempts. So I mean, at that point, people were thinking, okay, this is great. You know what I'm saying? Jacksonville's moving the ball, but along comes Brady, along comes Belichick, making plays as usual. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, this team. I was shocked that Jacksonville got off to the start that they did because I was mainly shocked at the points that they scored. Because everybody knows about their defense can ball,
right?
But it's that offense. So that offense putting up 20 points on the board pretty early. That was kind of a shocker to me, but. I mean, Tom Brady came back from 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
Yep, never doubt.
28-3. You think a 10-point lead to the Jacksonville Jaguars is gonna hurt him? No, sir. I mean, Danny Amendola made plays. He's kind of taken that Julian Edelman role this year with him being out. And once Gronk went down with that hit, I thought that's when I kind of got worried. But Tom Brady's the GOAT for a reason, man.
Hey, man, I called my pops yesterday, and we were just talking about the game. And it was just a tale of two takes, man. First half, Jacksonville, man, they really, they made their statement like, yo, we're here for real. But the thing is, you don't win games in the first half. You win games for an entire game, and you got to come to play second half. And it's like second half, Tom Brady just hit a switch, man. And he's showing why he is the greatest quarterback of all time. This is a dude, like Wanye said, he's come back from the Super Bowl. He's come back in the divisional rounds. He's made so many incredible comebacks, him and Belichick. And so many people, leading up to this conference game, they were saying, who should get the most credit? Is it Belichick? Is it from his success, or is it Brady? This is a component of both. These are just two great people, Belichick is probably the greatest coach of all time, easily.
Absolutely.
And then Tom Brady, like we said, he just showed why he's the best quarterback. Jacksonville started sitting down in that zone second half, and like you said, Danny Amendola was able to, pick up the slack that Gronk left, once he went down, and they just started eating them apart. So.
Yeah, and one thing too, Blake Bortles, man, I want to definitely give a shout out to him.
Absolutely.
He's
played
playoffs,
well.
he played.
The future is for that quarterback.
I saw this morning in a quote from, I don't know if it was a trainer, I believe. I think they said a trainer for the team said that it's a guarantee that Bridgewater is the starter at the start of the season. So They said that they're done with Case. He's going to go back to his reserve role.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue with Bridgewater. So I don't know how true that is. But
yeah, I mean, I think that's probably true right now, but I feel like with preseason, that's subject to change.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely subject to change. I feel like Bradford, I feel like they need to let Bradford walk. I say you work with Bridgewater and Case Keenum, see who wins out, and you go from there. Case Keenum, man, hats off to him, though. I mean, being a third-string quarterback, leading this team throughout the entire year all the way to the conference championship, he did his thing, man. He did his thing.
For sure. So now comes the time, man, for the Super Bowl 52, man. What do you think is the outcome? Obviously, we know that you're going for the Eagles, but what do you guys think each team needs to do in order to get a win in the Super Bowl?
Well, number one, I feel like it's what Wanya and you have been stating on this show. I feel like Philadelphia has to just take advantage of people, downplaying their weaknesses. And a lot of people, they're going to go into the game thinking Nick Foles will not be able to operate and beat you. But the thing is, we've seen how the 2 Super Bowls Tom Brady has lost in the Super Bowl. He's lost to 2 good defenses in the New York Giants. And at the same time, you could probably say a bad quarterback. Credit Eli Manning has 2 rings.
Yeah,
but I feel like Foles, man, what he has to do, he's going to have to exploit that pass defense because New England has been terrible this season.
Absolutely.
They have been petrified. So that's something I really like God awful. Like they really have. So I really want to see. I think, if Philadelphia really wants to win this game, They're going to have to exploit that passing defense. And at the same time, that defense is going to have to play how they've been playing these two games, in the divisional round, the conference round. If that pass rush and that defense, if they can stop their run, Philadelphia has it in the bag. Like I said, I don't want to hear because we're going to have to hear Wanye's mouth. But I think the Eagles, they have a chance, man.
Yeah,
they've been underdogs all playoffs. So.
They have, and we're going to bring them dog mask out to Minnesota when they play. But I think a key storyline going in this game is whether or not Gronk can play. Having his concussion, can he go through concussion protocol? Can he pass it in these 2 weeks? I'm guessing that he probably will. So assuming that, I think the key to this game for the Patriots is the Patriots cannot allow Nick Foles to shred them apart.
Mm-hmm.
They can't allow it. But I do say that you pretty much force him to beat you. I say that you sell out on the run, and you make Nick Foles try to pick you apart. And if he does, then he just does, and hopefully Tom Brady does it. But as far as for the Eagles, and which I think will happen, is I think the Eagles have to establish the run early.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to ground and pound it, keep Tom Brady off the field, tote that rock with Jay Ajayi, LeGarrette Blount, and Corey Clement out the backfield. I think you got to ground and pound the rock. I think Nick Foles continue to do what you have. Now, obviously, this game against the Vikings was a crazy game. He went crazy. But I think more similar to the Falcons game. Nickel and diamond, don't make mistakes, don't screw it up. And that defense has to be stout, which they have all year. And one thing about the defense is that they have not let up. In the Vikings game, they let up that touchdown early. They didn't let it. It was clamps after that. For the entire game.
And that's what I want to add, too. I want to say, for Philadelphia, I feel like the biggest key is to keep that foot on the gas. The past 2 seasons, the NFC teams, of course, last year, the Falcons, their confidence was incredible going into Super Bowl. And then 2015, the Panthers, same thing. And it's just like, in 2015, Panthers kind of went into that game lackluster. Their confidence just diminished.
Yeah.
Last year, Atlanta, I feel like they got too comfortable with the lead.
For sure.
If Philadelphia wants to win this game, if they ever have a lead in Super Bowl 52 2 weeks from now, if they ever have a lead, they got to keep their foot on Tom Brady and the Patriots' necks and just keep going.
There's no such thing as a too high score against Patriots.
And that's
you
one
beat
thing.
Them in the ground if possible.
And that's one thing that I have admired about this defense all year. They have yet to allow a touchdown in the last 5 minutes of the game all year. So they've kept their foot on the gas. So with Tom Brady going against a great quarterback, the greatest quarterback of all time, they're going to have to keep that foot on the gas.
Another thing I like about you guys' defense is that you guys learn, like you said, man. After throwing that first touchdown, Case Keenum threw that first touchdown. It was lockup. We learned, what you guys are trying to do. We learned the way you guys are trying to pass the ball. Who's your favorite, whatever, and they clamp up on that person.
Absolutely.
Then you're forced to run. Then you're forced to do things that you haven't done all year, and that equals a loss. That's where you get 38-7.
I think the biggest success about this defense, and it's usually the biggest success around most defenses, is that they can get to the quarterback with just rushing forward.
Yep.
So when you can when you can have 7 in coverage, that benefits your defense so much. When you don't necessarily have to blitz, that benefits you as well. And then when you do decide to bring a blitz, I mean, it's just, it's going to be over with for you for
sure. And before we move on, guys, I wanted to say something about that hit on Gronk, okay? Do you guys think that the NFL is too soft as far as those hits go? I mean, because obviously, for me, I don't think that he meant to do it. Okay, no. I think he went in with the shoulder. The heads kind of hit first, and then they automatically flag. He's probably going to get a fine. How do you guys feel about that?
So the thing, I mean, football is a physical sport. Everyone knows that.
Right.
And from a defensive mindset, it's almost like they want you to, I mean, the only option that they kind of make is for you to let him catch the ball, which obviously you can't do.
Right.
So you got to hit him. So the flag, I honestly don't mind the flags because I get there trying to protect the players. But, as far as a fine, I don't think he deserves a fine.
Yeah,
if he would have hit below the knees, it would have been targeted.
Exactly.
So they would have looked at him as a dirty play. And that's my biggest thing, This is like Barry Church is doing his job. He gets paid to stop people from catching the ball and make tackles. So it's like Wanye said, what do you want me to do? You want me to give him the catch? So
Can't do that.
I feel like, he definitely, tried to give up his body as best as possible because the way the game is set up, that's all he can do. There's so much thinking now as a defensive player. It's like, dang, how can I come in?
When you're running downhill at that point.
And it's Rob Gronkowski. Like, this is not no small dude. This is a humongous guy.
And then my biggest thing is, like I just mentioned how Javon said, targeting below the knees. If he would have hit him down low, a lot of guys would have been like, oh, he's trying to take him out. He's trying to take out the knees. So Barry Church handled the situation as best as possible. I mean, of course, you're trying to win a game, like I said. I agree with Wanye, definitely no fine. But at the same time, the NFL is trying to protect players. But it's a physical sport. This is what you sign up for.
This is what you sign up for, man.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that. In 2 weeks, we'll be looking forward to Super Bowl 22. So switching gears just a little bit before we get out of here, guys. What's going on with the Cavs? I just want to talk about the Cavs really quickly. What is going on with the Cavs? They've been losing a lot of games, fighting with teams that they shouldn't be fighting with.
Barely beat the Magic.
Barely beat the Magic. I mean,
and blown out by the
Thunder.
The Thunder ran them off.
148 points.
Yeah,
The Thunder had like a combined of 89 points. I mean, we've been on the record on this show. You know, of course, we had the hot take. I say, relax.
Don't worry about them.
But it's time to it's time
We're not relaxing anymore.
It's time to have a little bit of concern because our general consensus on this show is we don't know if LeBron is coming back. Mm-hmm. That's why they haven't dealt that first round pick that they had. Trade at the NBA All-Star by trade deadline. They gotta figure something out or make a move because this is a team we said before the show. They're old. Mm-hmm. They're basically relying on LeBron to do everything. I don't know how many times this season. I don't actually have the actual stat, but he's led the team in every statistical category this season. And you can't have that. You have to have a balance.
Yeah.
If you want to see teams like if they do make it to the championship, teams like Houston, teams like Golden State, whoever comes out the West. They will not be able to beat them
at all.
They will not be able to beat them if they play with this same mentality. So
absolutely. I mean, I feel like obviously the problem, and it was you could see it in the OKC game, is defense. Mm-hmm. LeBron can do everything for you offensively. Yeah. He can dribble, pass, and shoot for you. He can do everything for you offensively. Mm-hmm. But he can't guard 5 people at the same time. he can't do it all defensively.
Right.
And so in recent since he's gotten back to Cleveland. He's kind of stepped back from defense during the regular season because obviously he wants to save it for the playoffs, and so this team I'm not really too worried because I just see it every year and they're like, oh, this year's different, like the Celtics have Kyrie and the Raptors are looking good, but I just see it playing out the same way, them going to the finals against Golden State, but this time I think they will most likely get swept.
Yeah, I think IT is the key here, man. I think IT is definitely the key. He's got to get back on track. He's had some okay games, but he's not really doing too many assists.
And he can't defend.
Right, and that's the thing. And you lose.
Defend.
I mean, it already was iffy with Kyrie. Kyrie's not the best defender, but then you completely lose defense when you go and get IT.
And no slight versus IT. He would play defense if he was
bigger, but I mean, you've seen him get carried literally to the rim. You saw LeBron do it last year.
Yeah,
he got carried to the rim on a dunk.
I
mean, he can't play defense. So, and obviously he's still, trying to get back to the rhythm from his injury. So they dealt with that, and then it's all about chemistry. NBA is super. It's only 5 people on the court.
Especially with defense.
Exactly. It's only 5 people on the court. It's got to be some chemistry there. And if there's no chemistry, you have nothing, and you see what you get. LeBron went on the record and said that he thinks that they could get bounced in the first round. They keep playing this way. So they've definitely got to get focused. And you guys have any last thoughts?
There's rumors of them trying to get DeAndre Jordan and Lou Will in a trade for that Brooklyn pick, Tristan Thompson and some other people. I don't really. I say you might as well pull the trigger because you got to do whatever. Dan Gilbert, you got to do whatever it takes to try to keep Bron.
So you think get rid of the pick?
I say you kind of have to. I mean, Brooklyn's kind of pretty good this year too, so it's like the pick isn't going to be that sexy come lottery time. Maybe they can sneak in the top 5, but I say you try. A 5'9" point guard and a bunch of other.
And that's years of pain and agony, I think. So
I say you go all out, try to keep Bron.
My last thing on the day, man. I just want to say Michael Jordan.
Okay.
You made almost everybody available. Team's already having a bad year. I just want to say I'm very ecstatic. We're about to be bad. We're already in the cellar. But yes, Charlotte is taking a page out of Philadelphia's playbook. They're about to try to tank. Cleveland, if you need a guard who can get you some buckets, go ahead and send us that first round pick. We'll definitely give you Kemba. But
some defense too.
That's all I really have to say left, man. Basketball and football, man, it's really heating up. I can't wait for Super Bowl 52, Super Bowl party at Wanya's house.
Yeah, Wanya's house is gonna be lit, bro. So you already know.
That's it for me today, man.
Make sure you follow us on that Twitter, man. 3rd and 30. That's 3RDN30, man. For Brad Brooks and Wanya Davis, I'm your boy Javon Hubbard. Thanks for listening.
Dirty soda and styrofoam. Spill the day to get my mind blown. Dress it up and go to Nassau.